Hello and welcome everyone to another mindful conversation with beautiful individuals out there in the worldwide. So today's conversation is going to go again with that flow of what we're hearing out there about the importance of self-care, mindset, self-awareness, loving who you are and not comparing yourself constantly to everybody out there, especially other women. So, with me today, my guest Kim is here, and we're going to have this fascinating conversations. I was on one of her podcasts as well and said, okay, Kim's got to be in my podcast because we had that same passion, that same love. So, Kim, thank you for being a guest today and welcome to Mindful Conversations.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Happy to be here. So
Wonderful.
excited.
Nice. Kim, can you let our listeners know today where you're from?
Yeah, sure. I live in upstate New York. So, for anyone that has ever heard of Saratoga Springs, like the famous Saratoga racetrack, I don't live very far from there.
Nice, yeah. And because people have been wondering where the guests have been coming from, so I thought I would just throw that in there. And
Yeah.
yeah, so Kim, can you tell our guests today or our listeners today who you are and what brings you here today and what is moving you forward towards the passion that you voice so strong and so, positively about?
Yeah, thank you. So, first of all, I'm a 52-year-old and I have a 22 and 19-year-old. And I have been on a journey path for many years of self growth, personal growth. And I spent most of the time raising my kids, staying at home. And then as they got older, I was like, okay, what do I want to do when I grow up? Right. So, what do I want to do? I've been working on myself, taking care of them. They don't need me as much. And so I've tried a bunch of different things, and I landed on doing hypnosis about a little over a year ago. So I was trained by Marissa Peer in Rapid Transformational Therapy, which I sought out because I saw her through Mind Valley, loved her mastermind program. And I was looking to find something that I needed help with my own journey on eating, like overeating, compulsive overeating. I've been an overeater since I was 10 years old, sugar addict, yada, yada, yada. So I started doing that. And then Tia Fagan and I met through Dr. Shafali several years ago. And we started our own Masks Off podcast, as you know, just about little over a year ago as well.
Yeah. And the thing I loved about the podcast is because the similarity, right? That
Yeah.
you talk about basically valuing who you are, right? And not throwing our own self-care to the side and looking in the mirror and loving ourselves as in not always saying, I don't like this and I can't stand this about myself and this really angers me. Why can't it change? But instead, shifting that mindset and saying what you do love and give yourself a compliment and love that reflection that's staring back at you when
Mhm.
you look in the mirror. And, going forward with that, Kim, as far as self-care, what's a part of a self-care routine that you implement into your day every day and it's became basically a habit and a routine that it's definitely helped you continue on this journey
Yeah.
of, self-care, self-love mindset?
Absolutely. Well, I want to first just say if that, let's see, I guess it's been about 15 years ago now, 2005, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. And it took me about 5 years to get the diagnosis. And at that time, I really did not put myself first. I was raised to believe that you put others ahead of yourself because that's what Jesus would do, like quote unquote. So I really did grow up believing that other people's wants and needs were more important than my own. So taking care of myself was not a priority. And thus, my body said, back many years ago, nope, So you're not going to take care of yourself. Well, then I'm going to make you take
Yeah.
care of yourself.
Yeah.
And that's when really I had to start looking at a self-care program for myself. So it's been many things over the years, many. Well, what I do currently that now is a habit is for at least a year and a half, I wake up at some point in the morning. I do 10 minutes of abs. I do some yoga, not a lot. I just put on a YouTube video. And that has become a routine and a habit for me
Mhm.
that I didn't have before. And I've always been one to exercise. So I, do some kind of exercise like 4 or 5 times a week. That's a habit for me. And now recently, I'm on a new journey with a food program, and I wake up and I have 2 glasses of water before I even have anything else. So
Yeah.
those are just some of the body types of things for self-care, but as far as like taking care of my mind and nourishing my spirit, I do try to do some deep breathing, some meditation, and I try to get out in nature as much as possible. And those are all becoming habits and routines for me.
Yeah, I love that, Kim. The fact that, so well put, right? Especially for women, we're great at putting other people first, especially if we're moms, right? Or we're a caregiver to whoever. And we forget about ourselves. And then, the years go by and we kind of think, who am I? What do I want? What do I need? And it's
Yeah.
giving that inner voice the power. It's like, okay, what do I need? And giving yourself permission to make it happen. And I love how you found something that works for you, because then it's become a habit. It's something you don't even think about anymore. And it's something that's become a ritual and that you do in the daily thing. And you're so right about starting your day where you're waking up and having that water.
Mm,
Myself, I have warm lemon water and then followed by green tea because we wake up dehydrated. And
yeah.
to rehydrate yourself first thing in the morning is such a vital step. It helps our body wake up, it helps your mind wake up. And then you mentioned breathing, right? We forget to breathe and our bodies become tight and we get short fuse, right? We get
Yeah.
angry and we get stressed. But just taking that moment that you allow yourself to just, okay, just breathe. And it doesn't take long, right? 30
It
seconds,
doesn't.
like a minute to just breathe, listen to what I need right now, and listen to what I deserve to give myself now. So I love how you pointed out that it's become now a year-long journey
Yeah,
and it's continuing, because I believe too, Kim, that it's a journey, right? It's this journey of
it
life.
is.
Yeah, yeah. And you mentioned getting up in the morning. Sometimes we lie in bed and we just, I don't want to get up. I don't want to face the day. But what helps to keep you motivated? Where you wake up, it's like, yeah, it's time to get up. What keeps you motivated and gets you motivated to rise up, get out of bed, and go on about your day, to wake up to have that quiet time, to breathe, to have that water?
I think I definitely am a routine person. I love routine. So I make my list the night
Mm,
before of what I'm going to do for the day. So I already know that I have things that I'm going to do that are going to motivate me. So, and then I have my routine. Like I get up, I have my water, I do my abs, I do my yoga. So all of that I look forward to because
yeah.
I know it makes me feel better. And the other thing that I do every morning when I get out of bed is I make my bed right away. So
Yes.
I wake up and I'm a little bit stiff from sleeping all night. And then it takes me 4 minutes, I timed how long it takes me to make my bed. And I literally just, as I make my bed and I'm moving, I start to loosen up right away.
Mhm.
So I love that I do that every day. It makes such a difference.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it does, right? Because then sometimes people can say, I didn't accomplish anything. If you make your bed, you've accomplished something every day.
Yes.
So I love that. And it feels so much less stressed, right? When you walk into a room and
Yes.
your bed is made, the room feels tidy. It looks tidy. You're not saying, "Oh, the bed's such a mess," right? I
It
mean, how
makes a
many?
difference.
Yeah, it does, right? I mean, people probably they don't make their bed, and then at night they quickly make it anyways to get into it. So yeah, take that 4 minutes, take that minute or two, make your bed. It's such an important step, right?
It really
Yeah,
is.
do you feel too, Kim, that when you make your bed, it loosens up your body, you've accomplished something, and do you find that already sets the tone of having a positive mindset because you achieve
Yeah.
something, you're loosening up and you're feeling better overall?
Totally. I was just going to say that because, your podcast is about mindset, and it
Yeah.
just makes such a difference with my mindset when I make the bed first versus if, on occasion, if I don't, if I was sick or whatever, for whatever reason, I miss a day, there's such a difference in my mindset going forward for the day.
Yeah. Nice, nice, nice. Very nice. Challenges. We all
Mm,
face them.
yeah.
They can be different for everyone. Our challenges can vary on a day-to-day basis. Knowing what's ahead or what's the next day about or what's the future. So right now, and feel free to choose what challenge you want, but one that you feel uh, very relaxed and easy talking about. What's one of those challenges you're facing right now?
Well, yeah, I mentioned it a few minutes ago, and it's one I'm in right now currently, and that's with this food program that I'm on. So I'm doing a 90-day challenge again through Mind Valley, and I've never done this my whole life. So keeping in mind that since I was a little girl, I've been a sugar eater, carb eater, overeater, compulsive. And I really, my whole life, have been trying to heal this part of me. And so I did all the hypnosis things. I worked on what's in my, inner child stuff, what's in my subconscious, healed that. But there was still a piece that was missing. I still wasn't getting where I wanted to be. So I did this, I'm on day 52 of this 90-day challenge. And what I learned was a lot of it is the sugar itself, because it's such an addictive substance that once I had a little bit, I would want more. So it was the actual physiological part of it that I had not addressed. I addressed a lot of the emotional, mental, but not the physiological. And so far in the 52 days, I have had to take a vacation, which means eliminate sugar, refined sugar, caffeine, alcohol, preservatives, um, even pretty much like fruit at this point. We're just like in some very strict healing places of the program. And it is one of the most challenging things I've ever done in my life. And I also keep having to remind myself that if I don't do this now, then when? Like, what's my why? My why is to have food freedom and to, when I'm older, in my elderly years, to be active and healthy, because my parents were not.
Mhm.
And I don't want to have that same trajectory that they had in their older years. So I have to keep reminding myself of my why. But it's challenging because of habits. You talked about habits. I'll drive by Starbucks and it still calls me. I still want the bagel. I still want the chai. I still want the wine. So I'm still working with that and keeping in mind, I have to remind myself 24/7, it's progress, not perfection. And that I have made so much progress since starting this program, and it's not going to happen overnight. And I think that myself and others included, that when we try something like this, if it's not perfect and done like ASAP, there's like that compare thing, and the perfection mask, then it's hard to stick with something like this.
Yeah, Kim, as you were talking about that, there's thoughts that came to my mind, and when we have these challenges, the ones that you talked about, for example, are there days where you feel that I'm going to fail at this, or why am I still struggling this, or why am I still craving this, and I'm not good enough to do this, and I just can't do it, and how am I going to get there? And if there's a day where I just had to grab that sugar, I'm putting a scenario out there, and you grabbed it, are you going to feel guilty, or are you going to be apologetic to yourself? It happened, I had it, but I'm not going to keep on focusing on that slip up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That has been happening throughout, the 52 days. The comparison part for sure, because there's a Facebook group and there are over 200 of us, and we're they give us a lot of recipes, and there are a lot of people that are making these beautiful things
Yeah.
that look beautiful. And I look at those posts and I immediately do the comparing, like,
Mm,
oh, because I don't like to cook and I'm not a good cook. So when I see those beautiful dishes and I'm like, oh, they're doing that, but I'm not. And then I will go to initially judging myself. And then because I've done the work, I have to then pause and
nice.
realize that I am comparing and competing, and that's a
Yes.
part of the perfection mask.
Yeah.
And then I go back to, okay, what's my progress? What are
Nice.
my wins that I've had in the 52 days? So what if I don't create these gourmet looking dishes that maybe they're gourmet chefs? I still am cooking every night. Whereas before I did not. That's a huge, huge change for me and a huge win. So
Yeah.
that's where I have to do that mindset change.
I love that, right? That I always say, never silence the self critic, but instead hear it and then top it off with something else. So when you're analytically looking at it, it's kind of like, okay, I compared myself. However, I'm not going to silence that. I compared myself. It happens. I'm human. But I'm going to instead now double up with thriving on what I'm succeeding with. So I love that, the fact that you're able to shift and recognize that self critic, recognize
Yeah.
it. I hear you, but at the same time, I am stronger. I'm allowing me be stronger. I'm allowing myself to hear that inner critic. However, double up with my own successes. So I love how you shift that focus into recognizing your own values, recognizing your own success, and moving forward with that. And at the same time, recognizing what you're able to do and
Right.
what's like a really, if I use unable, let's use it because everybody knows, but it's okay if I'm unable to do that. I'm able to do this instead and still be successful. So that's great how you put it with food, because women do look at all these beautiful recipes and oh my gosh, right?
Yeah.
But instead, make it simple, make the meal simple. And I find too, usually those simple meals are so delicious, right?
They really are. They really are. As
Yeah.
long as you're eating real food, it can be really delicious.
Yeah, exactly. And that wraps me up to other people out there. We
Mm,
hear other things, we see. There's a lot of negativity out there in the world. Let's be honest, it's always has been. I find sometimes it's worse than others. So when you see all those negativity messages, those negative people around you, read those negative articles, although I'm sure you don't, because why bother, right?
yeah.
What helps you maintain that positive mindset, Kim, and not being pulled in to all that negativity?
So I'm going to be honest because, I do the Masks Off podcast. So I have to be honest and authentic and real with you and say
Okay.
that I do read those articles, and I do. And I'm going to share with you what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah,
I
please.
open up my Facebook news thing and I just scroll and read the headlines. And I know what I'm doing to myself because I feel it every day. I just feel awful the moment I finish reading, like highly, highly anxious and feeling gloom and doom, because that's how it feels when you hear everything that's happening in the world. And then I'll feel like, ugh. And then I come back to, just like I do with the comparison piece with the food, I come back then and I have a conversation with myself, and I say, and I remind myself, you just need to come back to this moment.
Yeah,
In this moment,
nice.
I'm safe and I'm okay. In this moment, all is well, all is good. And then I remind myself what the job is of the news. Their job is to create that kind of reaction in us. And even if it is, a lot of it is happening, the COVID, the climate change, all that stuff is happening.
Hmm.
But I just say, in this moment, there's nothing I can do to control or change
Hmm.
that. I can only control or change myself. And I'll do my best to not read them, but I still get drawn in. I just need to read the highlights every day. But then I just need to put it in perspective, is what I do.
Yeah. And you can even look at it baby steps, right? If yes, our environment, I mean, it's getting worse and worse, but what's a baby step you can do to help the environment?
Yeah.
Recycle everything you can,
Yeah.
compost everything you can, lessen packaging, lessen the stuff you buy more like used goods.
Yeah.
So, taking those steps. So looking at it is like, okay, what's something I can do? How can I help our environment, right?
Exactly.
And how can I help my mind not get so engrossed in that negativity, but just, okay, this is how I'm feeling. This was why. And now I'm going to shift gears and focus on the good in my life, right? I find that so important. I do that myself, Kim,
Mm.
that, I have a gratitude I write in every morning as I'm drinking my lemon water. I get up, I have my lemon water. That's the first thing I do because I feel I've experienced it before. I've had clients experience when you start to focus on the positive things in your life, and it can be anything, then things throughout the day that could have been terrible doesn't seem
Yeah.
that bad anymore, right? It could always be
100%.
worse. It could always be worse. So, Kim, as our podcast is slowly coming to an end, there's three questions I ask every one of my guests, and it's
Okay.
digging a little deeper, finding out, I guess, on a personal level, more about Kim.
Okay.
So, we all
Cool.
have quotes that we
Mm.
tend to live by, that we hear and kind of keep in the back of our mind. So, what's a quote, Kim, that you have and then you seem to really stand by and absolutely love?
I would say that so T and I use quotes all the time, but I'm not one to like always remember quotes that well.
Yeah,
When I read them or see them, I'm like, oh, that's really great. That's
yeah,
amazing. And then I can't really let them stick. But the
yeah.
one that does, that I do use a lot, is this too shall pass. Very simple.
Nice, nice.
Yeah. And
Spoke,
I've been saying it to my daughter since she was like little girl, this too shall pass, when she would get upset or anxious.
yeah.
And just like 4 weeks ago, she just got it tattooed on the inside of her arm
Oh,
to help be a
wow.
reminder for her that this too shall pass. Yeah.
Wow, very nice. Yeah, that reminder that we can't get enough of, right? That little
Yeah.
reminder because we focus, or many people focus on the awful things in their own life that are happening right now. But it's not going to stay like that, right? It's giving yourself the choice, giving yourself permission to, if you don't like how things are in your life, maybe you can't do a 180, which I don't recommend. That's setting
Right.
yourself up for success. But what's a baby step you can do every day? Create those daily habits, create that daily routine to help you change, to help you shift it, to help you get out of your situation. Yeah.
Absolutely.
What about advice? What is number one advice that you would like to and love to share with our listeners today?
That's interesting that you say that, because I've been asking myself a lot lately, what would I tell my younger self? You
Mm,
hear that question, or
yeah,
people phrase it that way. What would you tell your younger
yeah.
self? And the one thing that I would tell my younger self is to just not be so afraid.
Mm,
Don't be so afraid of the world, of the
yeah.
universe. Just kind of relax into life. And life in the universe will carry me and hold me. Doesn't mean that everything's going to be all rainbows and unicorns and sunshine. It just means that it's okay. So I know that since I've been a little girl, I've been a lot of fear, a lot of fear. So it just relaxing and
Mhm,
breathing and
mhm.
trusting myself and trusting the universe that all is okay. Doesn't mean that it's perfect. Again, it just means everything is happening the way it's supposed to, and just relax and ease
Mhm.
into life.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing how when you just breathe and relax, you begin to recognize when you're getting tense and when something's bothering you, you all of a sudden recognize it, and that's when you step back and say, okay, just let it pass, let it breathe. It's like you said, this will pass.
Yeah.
it's not going to remain like this forever. So yeah, the universe is amazing with symbols and signs. And when you start to really pay attention to them, do you find too that maybe you're just not seeing it, but then they come stronger at you? And then when you start recognize them all the time,
Yeah.
then you realize, okay, this is where I need to be. Maybe I don't feel I want to be there right now, but I need to be here right now to
Yeah.
get to where I'm going.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, you can't include your daughters in this. You can't include family.
Okay.
What if it was a last day of your life, Kim?
mm,
What is one thing that you would truly be grateful for?
mm. It was nature, nature, just the universe. I just love nature. It doesn't matter if it's trees, it's the lake, it's the ocean, the beach, the sunset. I just love nature and life.
Yeah. Isn't it something too? Do you find, as a closing note, do you find that when you're in nature, wherever it is, you just focus on nothing else but what's around you, whether the
Mm,
trees, the peace, the stillness of the trees, the water, watching the water move,
yeah.
listening to the birds, feeling the sun or wind on your face. Do you find when you do that, you get to another place of well-being?
100%. And especially like I remember when I was young and I would spend every summer up at my aunt and uncle's lake house. And I can remember being out on the lake in either like the rowboat or the paddle boat and going out in the morning when the lake was so still. It was like glass. You could
Yeah,
see your reflection in the
yeah,
water and just feeling so connected and so one with the lake that even now when I do a meditation and I can just reflect back on that stillness,
yeah.
the stillness of the water, and just connect, I can feel such a strong, powerful connection.
Hmm.
And it does take me to a completely different place.
Yeah, yeah, sure does. I agree.
Yeah.
Get out in nature as much as you can.
Yeah. I know winter's coming.
Oh, that's okay. We still go out in the winter, dress warm, and it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Oh, Kim, thank you so much for this beautiful conversation and sharing your wisdom and your own life journey that you're going through as well,
Mm,
and helping our listeners acknowledge today that what we all face biggest challenges ever, but we can get through those baby steps. We can get through each day when we value who we are, when we value how far we've come every
yeah.
day compared to whatever the past was, right? Let it go, live for the moment, live today, and be grateful and look on a positive wavelength your future. So thank you, Kim.
Absolutely.
Any
Oh my gosh.
last thoughts you want to share today?
I'm just grateful to be here. And if my story can inspire anyone in any way, shape, or form, then I'm grateful for that, to have
Thank you,
that
everyone.
opportunity.
And thank you, everyone, for listening to another Mindful Conversations. If you want to know more about Kim, you know where to find it down below. And if you're not subscribing yet, make sure to hit the bell, get notification when a next Mindful Conversation comes up. Remember, as you lie down tonight, think about the best thing that happened. And when you wake up, be grateful for the things in your life. This is Tanya Otterstein-Liehs saying thank you. Have a beautiful day and be full of gratitude.